and this is, I hope this isn't uncomfortable hearing this personal stuff, but, if you want to sort of have some idea where some of my ideas come from, just, sort of the cauldron from which we establish certain approaches to life. But I might as well be perfectly frank about my own history in this area, particularly with my own mother, that, and this is not something that I relish talking about, of course, but I don't want our good friend on the board to feel that this kind of maternal romancing, you could say, or these romantic feelings involved in one's conversations with one's mother are necessarily entirely unique to himself. It certainly has been my experience that my own mother was extraordinarily inappropriate when it came to sexual boundaries within the family. So she would walk around naked until my brother and I were into our mid-teens and finally just begged and bullied her to stop doing that. She would leave pornographic magazines around, and I don't even know where you could get these kinds of pornographic magazines from, but they involved sort of mother-son incest and just very strange kinds of, not good old healthy porn, but some pretty sick stuff. And, I mean, I don't have to go into all of the details. There was never any inappropriate touching and so on, but definitely when I was going through puberty, it was a heavily charged atmosphere of sexual inappropriateness in my household, and my brother, of course, has experienced the same thing. And by the by, I think that my mother, in a heroic attempt not to become a completely evil person, managed to squelch this kind of incestuous impulse within herself, which caused it was around this time and shortly thereafter that this mental collapse that she experienced, which she never recovered from, occurred. And I think that she herself, as a pretty girl, right? She's a very attractive woman, as a pretty girl who was in orphanages during a war, I can, of course, as I've talked about before, only imagine the kind of sexual predation that, in a time of sheer state of nature chaos that was occurring at this time, I can only just imagine the kinds of horrors that she went through in her own childhood, and the fact that she was able to, and again, I have no proof of any of this, it's just a gut feeling, so please don't take any of this as anything I would stand before a court and swear to, but my gut feeling is that she managed to head off her own incestuous impulses, and this caused, because she wasn't able, she decided to denormalize her own history, but did not dedicate herself to any kind of self-knowledge, and of course, because of her physical abuse, she was unable to sympathize with herself. But what happened in the end was, during or shortly after this time of intense incestuous energy within the household, she went to bed and basically never got up again. Had a mental collapse, proved unable to work, was institutionalized, and the whole merry tale of the beginning of my independence began.
Well, and it's interesting, too, that, I mean, my parents were not exactly, they were not particularly affectionate. I mean, not at all, in fact. I mean, and sexuality was like non-existent between them in terms of what we saw as kids. I mean, as far as we were concerned, they were living an entirely platonic life.
And you and I know what happened to your mother and you with regard to that, right? Because you and I had the same experience of being mom's little favorite substitute boyfriend, right?
Oh, that was just gross.
Of course it was completely gross, hideous, ugly. And that's even more reason to get angry, to be exploited in that pseudo-romantic manner by a needy, disgusting, and inappropriate mother.
It was disgusting. It was very disgusting.
It was. I completely agree. That's all the more reason to be angry and to reclaim that back from the bitch, right? And I really got my history when I got how enraged I was. I really got how evil it was when I understood how angry I was. And I did not, once I began to relax and accept that my rage was healthy, right? Because we don't want to be like, the people whose immune systems don't work, right? Don't fight off infection. The degree of your immune response is the degree of the infection, right? We want that to be equal, right?
Right.
So the degree of my anger was the degree to which I was attacked. And so I couldn't get emotionally the degree to which I had been attacked until I felt the degree to which I was angry. And I did not equate myself because I knew it was self-defense. I also knew it was psychological, so there was nothing I acted out, right? But that's how I understood what had been done to me. And that breaks the cycle, right? Because I could never fight back when I was a kid, right? It breaks the cycle. To allow yourself to get angry and use whatever psychological tools help with that. I didn't smash pillows, so it doesn't mean anything to me. But once we get that, then that not only helps us understand the degree to which we were brutalized, but it also breaks the cycle of not being allowed to fight back. As my therapist said about my mother, she had an unlived life as a murderer.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Yes, I'm not sure funny.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.